Hi, folks. It is Friday afternoon, August 29th, 2025. This is Reynoldsburg City School Board member Neil Whitman here, going live here after a hiatus of some time, and I'm trying something a little new here. Before I used to use this sort of jury-rigged interaction of Facebook Live and Zoom, but now I am trying to do it with YouTube because the trouble with Zoom is that after a month or a few months, your videos automatically disappear. But YouTube's videos, they stay there for much longer, and I know that because I finally opened up my YouTube account after years of not doing anything with it, and find videos in there that I like from more than 10 years ago, and I didn't even like. Wow, that's still there. So I'm still kind of experimenting with the interaction of screen sharing on YouTube and um, uh, what do you call it? Whatever I'm doing right now. Um, yeah, I guess this is anyway. So yeah, it's a new school year, and I'm going to try to get into doing these Friday updates. At this kind of regular time. My semester schedule is shaping up that it looks like that's going to be the best time to do it. But also, I'm making a few changes based on some of the suggestions I got from last spring, the last time I was doing some of these board updates. So I'll try to get into some of these here. Basically, I'm only going to do this for half an hour or so, and just talk about whatever I have time to talk about in that time. But to talk about some of the changes that I'm making in response to some suggestions, let's see if I can share my screen now. So I'm looking down at my laptop, but I have a larger screen up here, and I'm going to try to share that. So share screen. I would like to share this one. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I can see my face in the bottom picture here, and up here I can see the bigger picture. And as you can see, I've got the ren.org website up there, and now you can see my face sort of looking up at the there. By the way, there's another webcam up there that was supposed to be capturing this, but for some reason I can't make it operate with this setup. So so yeah, board office hours schedule. I want to talk about that. So let's see. I've got to look around my thing. Okay, so here's the new thing. So before I would do these weekly updates in the Welcome Center. Sometimes it was in room 4, then later on it was in room 8. And most of the time it was just me, and I would just do a video, and then I'd pack things up and I'd leave. A few times people came in, and then once or twice some actual teachers came in, and they said, boy, it would be nice if you or some board member could do these at a time when maybe we could come there, because we're trying to get home and make supper and things. And so in response to that, I'm doing these two things. One is that I'm doing these Friday updates from my basement. So nobody's going to be coming in here to visit with me from the school district, or at least they it'll be quite disturbing if they do. And so the only interaction that's going to be here is if people find out I'm doing this video and post questions. And by the way, I didn't put an announcement on this for today because I wasn't sure if it was going to be actually happen. This is kind of an experimental first run, but hopefully at say 4 o'clock every Friday, people can, those who can tune in and post questions, or you can put a question in the comments, or send me a question at neil.whitman@ren.org, and I can roll them into next week's discussion. But where do we get the live interaction for those that would like to do it? And so that's why I've got this tab up here on a spreadsheet, and you can see it's called Board Office Hours Schedule and Sign Up. And this tab is called Lunch with a Board Member. So you can see here alphabetically all the elementary school abbreviations: French Run, Herbert Mills, Roseville, Slate Ridge, Summit, and Taylor Road. And then we've got, and of course, Wagoner. Then our two junior highs, and then the two campuses of the high school. And I've got the weeks laid out here. And I realized that, wow, if I start next week and just go for the rest of the semester, there is enough time for me to hit every school, every building before we get to December, and things are just kind of getting crazy at the end of the semester there. So if things go well, I can be finishing up the week before Thanksgiving, and then depending on how things go, I can do it again next semester. And so right now, my plan next week is to visit Summit Elementary for lunch. And by the way, what day that week? The way my semester is shaping up, it's looking like Wednesday. Now, Wednesday 11, Wednesday noon. I'm not quite sure. And furthermore, will I be in the cafeteria? Will I be in the teachers' lounge? I went on the district website to see if I could find like a bell schedule for Summit Elementary, and I didn't I didn't do very well in finding that there. So this could be a matter of where I will take some guidance from those who are interested in being able to talk to me a little bit, or who want to make sure to stay out of my way when I'm in the building. And I talked about this with Board President Abram, and she said, "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And in fact, you could do this up as a sign-up sheet and put it in the same document where we have people signing up for the office hours before the monthly board meetings." So right here, you see this is our schedule for the rest of 2025 of all the board members that are going to be or who have been doing office hours before the meetings. So you'll see that I just signed up for all the even numbered months. So I did, I was at office hours before the last meeting, and then I'll be doing them again in October, and then once again in December. And then these are the other board members who have signed up for these various spots here. So yeah, and by the way, this is on the district calendar. And speaking of the district calendar, I sent a note, or I sent an email to Dr. Reed and our communications director about this, saying, "Hey, look, and if Valerie can put these on the district website, then people can see when I or other school board members are going to be where, and can can be prepared, or can just like I said, know when to look for me or look for somebody else, or when to when to lay low." But looking at the district calendar, and this is the calendar on the newly revamped website. It still takes a little getting used to navigating, but it's so much better. You've got all of these items in here, and then you can tell it which ones you want to see. So let's say if I take out athletics, and I take out preschool, and I take out I anyway, you can look and see when people are going to be where. And I was saying, "Oh, Valerie, if you could put that in the calendar here, and then, for example, it would say next Wednesday, board member Whitman will be in Summit Elementary," then people could see that. And she told me, or she emailed back, said, "Oh, actually, you have access to the calendar, and so that way you can do it. And furthermore, that relieves the communications department of having to constantly, look again at the spreadsheet and see if any other board members have signed up for anything else to do." So I am going to try to put my schedule of lunch with a board member in there, and so hopefully this should be showing up pretty soon. By the way, the purple and yellow or gold weeks here, these are the weeks of of the board meeting. there's one more tab on here, and that is PTO meetings. So President Abrams said, and um, if we could also put something about PTO meetings there, it might be useful for a board member to show up at some of the PTO meetings. And so here it is. As you can see, nobody's signed up for any of these yet because I just sent out this. I just shared this last night, late last night, and I may do some of these, but right now I'm just focusing on trying to get my lunch with a board member thing set up and get that on the calendar. But these here looks like Summit or Slate Ridge and Summit have their full schedule of PTO meetings all set up here, and I got that from the district calendar. It looks like there's also a couple of other schools that have monthly PTO meetings set up, but I can't tell what they are. So, for example, here's one on September 8th. If I go to the September page, it says PTO or PTO board meeting. So yeah, if this is your school, and let me know. And if there are others I've missed, I can put in the spreadsheet, and maybe certain board members, depending on their schedule, can come by for some of these. Anyway, I am curious if I truly do have the ability to make a new put something on the calendar. Um, okay, well, I guess I'll just have to read Valerie's email again to find out how I go about doing that. But yeah, so my plan for this semester is weekly. Every Wednesday I'll be hanging out, eating my lunch in one of the school buildings. So if you see me, say hi, or don't. And all right, well, so I want to talk about some other things going on here. So of course, one big thing that's been going on this second week of school is just lots of problems with the transportation department, and of course that's very frustrating and life disrupting for people standing and waiting for their kids to be picked up, or standing and waiting for their kids to come back home to them. And of course it's been, shall I say, disappointing to hear about this, as a board member, because I remember. Actually, let me see if I can stop sharing the screen here, because there's something else I want to share in a moment. So let's see. I need to stop sharing. Okay. Um, when we did the budget reductions, we heard from Mr. Tim Wagner, the executive director of operations, about how we could by moving to the geographically based school attendance zones, that would cut down on the number of routes we need to do, plus a few other changes, like instead of having all of these stops, have more what he called metro style stops, where kind of like an ordinary, or more like an ordinary bus stop, where it's a congregation point and people meet there. And of course, I mean, to some extent, I mean, that's what already happens. You can go around and see clusters of kids, standing around waiting for the bus to come. But it would be sort of like more of that, and that would be a bit less convenient. But on the other hand, for the greater convenience, hopefully, of having more reliable bus schedules. And then of course we've got the tracking app in there now, and that's for the last almost a year they've been working on getting those in all the buses and making practice runs and things, but yet that's not working so well right now. So I know that's one question that's been on a lot of people's minds, if your kid's a bus rider. So I'm going to look at some of my notes, move adjust a few screens here so I can see what I need to see. um, where is it? um, Oh, where am I? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I told you this kind of experimental here. All right. So I'm looking down here at some notes that Mr. Wagner provided to the superintendent and the board uh, last week about just what exactly is going on here. And yeah, he says, as you are aware, week one got off to a rough start. And what he tells us is it was kind of several things all colliding together at the same time. Of course, they're working on it. So the first thing he mentions is staffing, and so yeah, he says 3 weeks ago, well, 4 weeks ago at this point, they were fully staffed, but between August 1st and the start of school, there's like five things that all happened here about people going on leave or people who were contingently accepting the job but decided to accept another one. Other drivers who are already employed wanting to move from full time to part time, and then and some just straight up resignations. And again, as for is it just really really bad luck that all that stuff happened at the same time, or is there something else going on? Well, that's that's way above my pay grade. So so at my next one-on-one meeting with Dr. Reed, I'm sure that'll be one of the updates I'm hoping to get. But and of course, I mean, she kind of updates this day to day on, like, for example, some routes that have had some troubles today. But anyway, he said that all told, they were down 12 drivers, just in time for the start of school. He said they should have 44 drivers available, but they only had 32. So that means drivers are doubling up on their routes, and some of uh, Eric Kinney, our new transportation director, and Megan, that would be Megan Beal, the person who reports to him. Um, I mean, they're driving buses themselves, which means they're not there to, answer the phone or deal with other, put out other fires, because they're out, driving buses. And furthermore, even Mr. Wagner himself has been driving some bus routes. So he oversees the transportation department and the food service and the custodial and the building maintenance and everything. But he he's driving a bus himself, because he's put in a lot of that's been part of his job in other districts. So he says if you see bus 52 going by, give him a wave, because that's Mr. Wagner. So yeah. So, so what's the second thing? Oh, and by the way, he says good news. He is working with the human capital management to get 3 drivers processed and hired ASAP. And this Monday, or this past Monday, he says he was interviewing 3 more drivers who already have their CDLs. So anyway, that's what's going on there. That's the first main thing. The second big thing is the new and reduced routes that I was mentioning a little earlier here. He says by in eliminating 22% of our routes and not significantly increasing the walk zones, we've had to combine many stops and add more kids to each bus. So that's what I was saying about the metro stops. But the the issue is when it actually comes down to individual families, and their kids. Um, some of them are just kind of either by habit or just you know uh, or not or ignorance or habit, not going to the new group stop. They're just going to the same, having their kids go to the same stops that they've usually been going to, and then that's adding a lot of time to the routes as well. So hopefully, families will get kind of used to the new way that the stops work. Um, Yeah, and that's adding significant time not only for the driving time, but also as drivers, stop and talk to the kids and the families and explain, hey, you need to be over here, over there. So, and then they sort of accumulate. They compound with each school, so that the last schools are running significantly late. So, and he says all the routes are new this year. So there are no, you don't get a little shallower learning curve of a route that you're familiar with. So, yeah. So the newness is part of it, and the staffing. And then the third thing he brought in here, he says new technology. So the routing software. Um, he says, of course, there's always going to be some bugs that that you don't foresee, and apparently the thing that happened this time is, or with this situation, is that Power School. So what one of the selling points of this software is that it would handshake with Power School. Yay! Finally. So Power School with the grades and the attendance and the bus stuff all in one place. Um, Unfortunately, I mean it does do that, but only on your desktop or laptop computer, not on mobile apps. So, so yes, you can track it if you sit down at your home office or at your breakfast table or wherever, and and log in and do it that way. And if you're out there standing on the street looking at your phone, you can't do that. So that is a disappointment. I'm still. I mean, I guess being able to track it at all is better than what we had. But yeah, this was a surprise apparently, and so there we go. And hmm, and I guess some other related tech issues. The Power School InstaConnect, that functionality got temporarily lost last week, and then interesting, yeah. Some of it is geocoding, just getting each student into the system, on the map with whatever geolocation they need to be at, and a lot of that is imported automatically from I guess the what do you call it, EMIS database from the school, but it doesn't catch everything. It doesn't catch misspellings and things. So he gives an example here. If someone lives at 123 Mills Mill apostrophe S Lane, but the address is listed as 123 Mills Lane without the apostrophe, then the software has to ask a human to check. And so basically, this is the first year we've had this system, and so there's a lot of manual correction that needs to be done. And that Mr. Wagner says we discovered early last week that about 400 students needed to be geocoded so that we could get them on the bus. So and now, if the question is, hey, listen, you had all summer to do this. I mean, I they were working on, I'm sure they were working on that and many other things during the summer. But I know from, you know, reviewing databases and things too, that it's not always obvious, where the little problems are going to be until push comes to shove. So anyway, this was the update as of last week. Of course, this week was kind of a mess too. So I'll add my apologies on to those that you've probably heard from, from transportation department or from the communications from the superintendent. But I can see here that this is something that they are still working on. But I'll close out with one last thing that kind of is at the intersection of transportation and something else that we've just been working on. Let me make sure I've got it ready to share here. So, okay, let's try oh, where's my screen share button? All right, let's share an entire screen, and that screen will be this one. Okay, so it is the Reynoldsburg City School District Board of Education Handbook for the 2025-2026 school year. We have had a handbook before, but it's been something that was not very well publicized. In fact, even I myself kind of forgot that we had one. So, but one of the things that we did this year was to update it. And so, and once I volunteered for this because I said, wait a minute, we have a handbook. I could, wow, okay. So all the kinds of things that I've been saying, like in my office hours, or to people, in person, or to other, board members in talks or things, we can have it all here in one place. So it was board approved in earlier this month at the August meeting, and it should be pretty soon on the website, on the school board section of the website. Now, right now, we still have our old pictures up there. So, but I expect when we get our new group pictures and our new headshots up there that they took before convocation last week, that they'll also put this up there too. So it's written, for primarily for a board audience, but for those who are curious, like what does this school board do anyway? You can download this. It's a public document. People considering running for the board, or people who are actually running for the board right now, may be interested in seeing this. And so it's got a hyperlinked table of contents here. And so I want to look at a part here called, let's see, communications with stakeholders, including social media. I think this is the part I want. Okay. So here are the essentials. If a community member comes to you with a concern, whether in person or by another medium, your first question should be whether the person has raised the concern with the district staff member closest to the problem with the power to solve it. So, and emails sent to the entire board are well, this is just, okay, this is sort of a summary of the whole thing, but this first sentence is the part that I'm interested in. So here it is in more detail. The district staff member, so if the person is a parent of a student, that would be the child's teacher, or if that didn't resolve the issue, then the building principal. If it's a more general concern, like unsafe bus driving, or a curriculum thing, then the appropriate member might be the transportation director, or the assistant superintendent of leadership and learning. So so in fact, one parent reached out with with a problem about involving the transportation, and it came to and it came to me, and it came only to me, so I responded to it. If it comes to all the board, then we let the president take point on that. But it came to me, and I said, the person said, well, they called the transportation director, and the transportation director had said, sorry, we can't do anything. And so I said, okay, well, that was the right place to start. Where you need to go now is that person's boss. In other words, Mr. Wagner. So take this email and send it on to Mr. Wagner. Hopefully he can resolve it for you. And if he can't, then kick it up to the superintendent. And basically, don't give up, because if it is something that needs to be addressed by the board, then it needs to fail fast. Okay, so so in this case, the person did indeed reach out to Mr. Wagner, and Mr. Wagner was able to solve it. And I know that because in a later update from Dr. Reed, she told us that with Mr. Wagner and Mr. Kinney in transportation were able to resolve it. And I was thinking, awesome, this is great. This is something that was resolved without board intervention. I just kind of, I got an email, but I didn't go to the superintendent and say, hey, fix this. I said to the person, hey, take this, keep on kicking it up the chain, and let it get solved that way. So I guess, it'd be like, board, training wheels instead of complete hands-off board. But then I saw a later, comment on social media with this person saying, I had to escalate it to the board. I'm like, no. So So I mean, I'm happy it was solved, but I'm sad that the impression the person came away with was that it had to come to the board and it had to be the board that did it, because I was trying to take great pains to say, um, take it through the channels, and then that way, if it does need to be addressed by the board, it can get to us fast when when nobody manages to solve it on the way up. But hopefully somebody will. But yeah, what I wrote here is wow. Okay, I can't remember what there was some line I had about, but basically it's just repeating what I was just saying right now. So yeah, there it is. It's my first fall semester weekly updates. I'll plan on being back here again next Friday at 4 o'clock. Maybe I can get it more scheduled and you know on time. But first we'll just see if even this worked at all. So, welcome back, everybody. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and go Raiders tonight. And with that, thank you for watching, and I am out. If I can figure out where to tell it to stop. End stream. There we go.